Mayor Holland.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Taylor.
Here.
Commissioner Brownlow.
Here.
Commissioner Sanderson.
Here.
Commissioner Sawyer.
Here.
Commissioner Wooten.
Here. Thank you, ma'am. Please bow your heads with me in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for the gift of today and the hope of a happy and healthy tomorrow. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Please stand and face our flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this time, we'll go to item number 5 will be our public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you missed the sign-up sheet on your way in, no worries. We'll get to you with a raised hand, but we'll start in order of sign-ups.
John Thomas.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah, my name is John Thomas. My wife and I live at 7330 Sound Drive. We purchased that property last year as a retirement home. I spent 20 years at the Tennessee Valley Authority in a public service type of role similar to you. We bought this as a retirement home. We're moving from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we're going to be happy to be here, part of the community. What I'm here to talk about is that when we did some work on our home, after we bought it, the last thing we were doing was some landscaping. And as a part of the landscaping, we noticed that there were 2 trees in our backyard that were dead, one that was leaning towards our house, and 4 that were dropping a number of leaves and walnuts in our pool. If you ever had walnuts in your pool, they clog up everything. And so we saw a contractor in the neighborhood that was cutting trees and asked him to come and remove these trees. And they did, and within a couple hours, Mr. Zapp was in our yard telling us that we needed a permit to remove those trees, of which my wife apologized because we had no idea about that. We removed trees on our property in Chapel Hill, in the mountains of North Carolina, and in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We had no idea about this, and we had no way of knowing. And so for that, we apologize. We had no intent to do anything other than just work on our property. And so we asked, what do we need to do to make it right? Mr. Zapp said, send us an email and we'll work with you to resolve this. We sent an email. This was in September. We didn't hear another word until December 13th, Friday the 13th, where we got a notice of violation for $1,000 for removing trees without a permit. And so we were obviously upset by this. We had thought that we would work to resolve this. And so, my wife and I then started doing a little research. We found out in November in your board meeting, your lawyer presented a recommendation, actually a notice of violation for us to replace the trees with no permit. That was not sent to us. In December, there was another meeting where there seemed to be a bit of confusion after your lawyers had presented how you fine folks about what we should be fined. And so it ended up at the lawyer's recommendation that we be fined $1,000. Mr. Zapp argued in the meeting that we should be fined $1,000 per tree, which this is all recorded stuff. And we were confused by, we go from, we're gonna resolve this to $1,000 or no fee, $1,000 per tree. And it just seemed a bit arbitrary and capricious how this process is being executed. And so, as I said, I spent 20 years at the Tennessee Valley Authority. We managed 300,000 acres of public land, campgrounds, as well as all the dock permits issued on the Tennessee River. And so we deal with the public quite extensively. And one of the things that you do when dealing with the public and public service is trying to work to resolve the issue. You resort to fines and penalties only in the 1% of the case we've experienced where people just aren't willing to work with you. So I would leave you with this. One, I don't think that this is public service because we don't feel like we had the opportunity to work to resolve this. Second, we were upset about this. I sent a note to you, Mayor, saying, I was concerned about this. You said, I'll call you tomorrow. You still haven't called me. I don't consider that public service either. And the last thing is, and probably the most insulting, is in your notes in your minutes today, if you'll refer to page 79 in your meeting today, there's a note that says 312 Channel Drive, I don't know who that is or who these people are, removing trees without a permit, violation, no fine. The immediate next entry, 730 Sound Drive, removing a tree without permit, $1,000 fine. I just don't understand the inconsistency in how you apply your policies and your violations. Thank you for your time tonight, and good luck with your meeting tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Bill Griffiths.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Yes, sir, it sounds like.
My name is Bill Griffith, and I've lived here in Emerald Isle with my wife. We've been here for about, it's close to 20 years now on 306 West Warren Drive. And about 4 years ago, just some background, we tore our cottage down and built a permanent home. And we're retired down here now. And just about ever since I've been in Emerald Isle, I've been going to the gym. And about 2 weeks ago, I showed up there, tried to use my card, and somebody, I guess rightly so, said, you have to pay. And I think she said $25. Just to give you some background about me, I'm 85 years old, and I've been working out for a long time. And $25 is not a lot of money, and that's really not what the problem is. The problem is that it would seem to me that those of us that have been going to that gym, it doesn't make a lot of sense to charge us $25 a year. And I think the town should be supportive of senior citizens that want to work out and go to the gym. So it has nothing to do with money. I can go out to dinner some night and I can spend $100. So that's not an issue. The issue is that to impose, it's almost like a punitive fine for going to the gym. And I think the town and this committee should be supporting senior citizens that want to work out and make their lives better. And it's important. And so I think that maybe you should step back and take a look at what you've done and see if there's a better alternative. I don't see any reason why senior citizens, and I think the money to membership before stopped at, I think, when I was 75 years old. And I don't see any reason why the committee in the town should not support senior citizens. And that's not requiring a fee of anything, whether it's $2, $20, $200, $1,000, it makes no difference. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with the town supporting senior citizens that want to have a better life. And I think you should go back, take a look at what you've done, and see if you can correct this. And that's about all I have to say. I'll close with saying that we think and we know that Emerald Isle is a great place to live. And we're happy now that we live here permanently for the last 3 years. And we've had virtually nothing negative to say about it. But I think this particular item, you could do better if you would take a look at the senior citizens in this town, and you should encourage them to be healthy. And what you've done is just the opposite.
Thank you, sir.
So that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sarah Fullwood.
Good evening.
In the interest of time, I think I'll be speaking for the other individuals that are behind me. They're also listed on the sheet. Good evening. I'm Sarah Fullwood, 126 Ethel Drive, and I have some concerns with Agenda Item 10 Alpha. The Bike and Pedestrian Committee is the only committee on the town website that does not list the task, purpose, or associated scope of the work the committee will review or oversee. The website only lists the 7 members of the committee with no ending dates of appointments or upcoming vacancies, the standardized meeting times, the fact that the bike path was named in honor of Alicia Sanderson, and a map of the bike path. There are also no minutes from this committee anywhere on the website. There are no vacancy announcements or solicitations for applications on the Bike and Pedestrian Committee page, but there is a 2022 solicitation for applications on the Planning Board page. The 2022 Planning Board solicitation allowed more than 30 days for applications to be submitted from December 29th to February 1st. But there was a vacancy on the Bike and Pedestrian Committee, apparently, and it was deemed critical enough that the town posted the vacancy to a different part of the town website and once on Facebook, and allowed only 16 days for submission of applications over a traditional holiday period from 18 December to 3 January. I would like the board to consider and answer the following questions. What is so critical for this committee to review and decide that warrants such a short window of submissions over a traditional holiday period? And is there a regulation that prevents the committee from functioning with 6 active members? What is the actual scope, task, and purpose of the Bike and Pedestrian Committee? Where are the minutes from the previous meetings of this committee held, and can they please be published on the town website? How many submissions were received to fill this vacancy? I respectfully request that the board table the vote on this vacancy until the scope, purpose, and tasks assigned to this committee and previous minutes are made public, and a more appropriate window for application submissions is provided to town residents. Additionally, I request that the board consider disbanding the Bike and Pedestrian Committee completely and replace it with a comprehensive Parks and Rec Committee soliciting all new committee membership. For nearly 6 months, members of this community have requested the board establish a new comprehensive Parks and Rec Committee. Certain members of this board and town staff have ignored and belittled this request as a spat between pickleball and tennis players. As we have clearly stated at past meetings, that is not the case. We have significant concerns spanning the full breadth of Parks and Rec budgeting, facilities, and programming. There is a saying in public relations that perception is reality. I hope that this is not reality, but the perception some members of this board and some of members of town staff are giving is that they participate in cronyism, fear open and transparent government, and see little value in the respectful input of their actual constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I think that was all of them. I think that covered the other 4.
Did we miss anyone, or did anyone miss a sign-up sheet that has anything to say during public comment period? If you missed a sign-up sheet, no big deal, just throw up a hand. All right, thank you very much. Item number 6, we heard you. Follow-ups to prior public comments, if they're not printed on the desk on the way out. That's what they are, and I knew there would be, but thank you for doing that. Any public comments are available through the town's admin and available on your way out. I thank you all for your public comments tonight, and please be assured that they will be addressed at a minimum in print at the next board meeting, but I trust our town staff and electeds will address these issues way ahead of the next meeting. So thank you for that, and please know that we do hear you and we do address those issues, and it'll be handled. Item number 7 will be the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
All right, I believe our town clerk.
I'm sorry, we need to add some items to that agenda.
Yeah,
Based on the town clerk's request.
Yes, please.
And that would be adding item 8E, recognition of Officer Sam Scott, Senior Police Officer, and that would be by Chief Gangarella. And item 12, if we could replace that, just bump it down and add, item 12 is a budget amendment for purchase of a Cruiser Tahoe that was approved by this board today for a replacement vehicle for the police department.
Okay, so the amended the amended motion to adopt the agenda includes recognition of Senior Officer Sam Scott, and during our budget retreat today, for full transparency, this board voted, if I'm not sorely mistaken, 3-2, please correct me if I'm wrong, to replace one of our outgoing police vehicles with a new Tahoe. So Commissioner Sanderson has the amended adoption, or motion to adopt the amended agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Thank you very much. Item number 8, proclamations and public announcements. So, Captain Cruz, when you're ready, sir.
Welcome to this month's public service announcements. The Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee meeting is on January 15th starting at 9 a.m. The Stormwater Committee meeting is on January 16th from 3 to 5 p.m. The town administrative offices will be closed on January 20th in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The next Police Educating the Public event is on January 21st starting at 10 a.m. The Golf Cart Advisory Committee meeting is on January 21st starting at 5:30 p.m. Come have a coffee with the local police officers at the next Coffee with a Cop, happening on January 23rd starting at 9 a.m. The Planning Board will meet on January 27th at 6 p.m. The next Neighborhood Watch meeting is February 4th at 4 p.m. Celebrate love at the inaugural I Love Emerald Isle Gala, happening February 14th from 6:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. at the Emerald Isle Community Center. Tickets are $75 per person. Go to the town's website for more information. Registration is now open for the Emerald Isle Pickleball Tournament happening on February 15th. Go to the town's website for more info. And the next Board of Commissioners meeting is February 11th starting at 6 p.m.
Mayor, can you
Yes.
specify the vote for the agenda one more time? I didn't catch Brownlow's vote.
I know there was 4 yays. Commissioner Brownlow?
I'm gonna abstain.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, 8B, esteemed Parks and Rec Director, Ms. Kansas, there you are.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Thank you for having me. Just one quick housekeeping item because we did not get the slide updated. Bike and pedestrian has been rescheduled from tomorrow due to the current vacancies. So we do not have a meeting planned for tomorrow. So I am thrilled to introduce one of my newest employees, Mr. Riley McGilvery. He joined our maintenance team yesterday, as a matter of fact. Met with him today. He had a great first couple of days. Riley comes to us from Lowe's Home Improvement with 5 years of experience there and came highly recommended from Lowe's. Although they hated to see him go, they want to see him grow here in the town of Emerald Isle. And Riley shared with me today that his hobbies are going off-roading, doing forestry cleanups, and he loves to go camping, mostly in the mountains, and to spend time at the beach with his family and friends, and he looks forward to working for the town of Emerald Isle.
Thank you very much. So young.
So super, super proud. If I could ask Ryan Ferguson to please join me. Coming up, so Eagle Scout, Ryan Ferguson, created his own fundraiser for his Eagle Scout project, raised the funds 100% independently, and he offered to build the Parks and Rec Center a Gaga ball pit. So you might ask, what is a Gaga ball pit, right? So I Googled it for you just so that I could let you know, because I too didn't know until he built this for us. So it's a fast-paced, high-energy sport pit. It's a softer, kinder version of dodgeball. And I will say Mr. Wesley Pearson is here with us tonight, our after-school program director, and he has the children out there quite often using this. And so we are super pleased. We appreciate your hard work, and congratulations. Ryan, actually.
My nephew's an Eagle Scout. I wanted to congratulate him. Sorry. Now you can go.
If we can advance to the next slide, please. I'm now going to ask Dylan Tradewell, another Eagle Scout, to please join me. So Parks and Rec has obviously been very blessed the last few months to have these wonderful Eagle Scouts doing amazing projects for us. And so Dylan, too, raised 100% of the funds independently to complete this project, and it was done in Ocean Oaks. And so I believe we have a picture that we can put up, if you don't mind. And so Dylan has constructed a brand-new flagpole with lighting at the top. He also updated the there you go, you can see the brick lining around, added rock in there. And this is actually, this park was updated and donated by the Stark family, his family. And so not only did he construct this, he had $80 left over from saving some money, and he has now donated that to the Parks and Recreation Department. And also, this is dedicated to his late grandfather, Mr. Craig Kent Stark, a U.S. Army veteran, and he also donates this to all U.S. Armed Forces, both past and present. So thank you and congratulations.
All right, welcome Riley, Ryan, Dylan, hats off to you all. Congratulations and thank you. All right, item number 9 would be our consent agenda. Am I missing something?
8E.
Oh, AD, sorry, I missed it. I had D with Candace, I'm sorry. Chief, floor is all yours, I apologize.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize the promotion of one of our officers, Officer Sam Scott. Sam is being promoted from advanced police officer to senior police officer, which is a level of promotion in our police officer career advancement program. One of the requirements is the officer have no disciplinary actions in the past 12 months. They must complete 228 hours of training. There are 120 hours of core classes they must complete. After that, there's 40 hours of investigative related electives, 28 hours of leadership or supervisory electives, and then following that is 40 hours of officer choice electives, totaling 228 hours. And I can assure you that Officer Scott went above and beyond that and completed more than the hours required. So at this time, if you would please join me in congratulating Senior Police Officer Samuel Charles Scott in his achievement of obtaining Senior Police Officer.
Thank you, Officer Scott. Senior Officer Scott. He can sing a little bit too, I've heard him. All right, I apologize for jumping the gun, no police pun intended, but now we'll run to item number 9, which would be our consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd like to pull the minutes out of the consent agenda.
Okay.
I found some stuff in there I think we need to revisit on the next meeting, please.
Okay. So would you like to make a motion to modify are you modifying your motion to approve the consent agenda minus the December 10th meeting minutes? Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right. There's a motion on the floor to adopt the consent agenda sans December 10th, 2024 regular meeting minutes by Commissioner Brownlow. All in favor?
Aye. All right.
Any opposed? We need a little discussion.
Yeah, we need a little discussion.
All
What are
right.
we missing out of the minutes? Nothing's missing except there's some inaccuracies and some, I could go on if you want me to, but I think I'll wait.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what I'm voting on.
All right, what you're being asked to vote on right now is that Commissioner Brownlow believes that there are inaccuracies in the December 10th, 2024 meeting minutes. You'd be voting to push those out until the February meeting at a minimum and approving items B and C.
Well, if there's inaccuracies, we need to look at them, so.
All right, so again, the motion is on the floor to adopt an amended consent agenda minus item 9A, with item 9A to be readdressed at the February meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion is carried, technically 5-0. The absence of that vote is a yes, so that motion is carried regardless. Thank you. All right, item 10 is appointments. Item 10A is the Bike and Pedestrian Committee, so we'll address that one first. Someone help me with I'm sorry, I'll get back to my papers, but how many are there? I know we had some public comment on Bike and Pedestrian Committee, so. Thank you, Candace.
Here we have technically 2 vacancies on the committee. Ms. Erin Stark has resigned due to having too busy of a life, honestly. She has 3 beautiful children at home, and she's just a little bit too occupied with that. And then we also had one member, and I don't recall his name, who was appointed, who did not attend any meetings at all, and according to the bylaws, he's therefore removed from the committee. So yes, we did have 2 vacancies, and I believe we had 2 applicants that you should have in front of you.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we table both committee appointments at this time.
All right, Commissioner Brownlow has made a motion to table the appointments on the Bike and Pedestrian Committee until when, sir?
And the Parks and Rec Association Committee also.
In respect of the A and B, let's do one at a time. That way we have a motion for each, if you will, please, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, then I'll make a motion that we table the Bike and Pedestrian Committee meeting until the February meeting.
All right, so Commissioner Brownlow has made a motion to table the appointment of the vacancy on the Bike and Ped Committee until the February meeting. All in favor?
I have a question, Candace. Was there any harm pushing that till February based on the public comment we had? There were a couple of folks up here. Is there an urgency we need to fill them now, or could it go 30 days?
It could go 30 days. We are fast approaching the May event of Bike the Banks, which is a primary focus of this particular group. So I would urge you to move either this month or next month, but I would leave that at your discretion.
Okay, thank you. I'd be a yay if it can wait.
All right, so we have a motion and 1 yay.
Yay.
So that's 3, Commissioner Sanderson?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good. That motion is carried. All right, on to the EI Parks and Recreation Association Board.
Mayor, I make a motion, we table that EI Parks and Recreation Association Board also, the appointments on that. I wasn't aware of this, and it's, again, you heard the public comments tonight. I think that was spot on, that that we need to be, allow opportunities for the other citizens to participate on these committees and give them that opportunity. And rather than having a selected person that we vote on. So that's my position on that.
So your motion is,
To table that to the February meeting.
Commissioner Brownlow has made a motion to table the EI Parks and Rec Association, Inc. Board appointment until the February meeting, February 2025 to be exact. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion is carried as well. Thank you. All right, item number 11, potential UDO code changes due to 2024 legislative actions. Good evening, Chris. Good to see you again.
Mayor? Yeah, I sent via email earlier, or actually in late '24. The short session of legislation made some changes. It happens all the time. We received documentation from North Carolina School of Government giving guidance as far as what code changes are needed. So what we put together is potential code changes to make sure that we meet the changes that were established in short session of 2024. Also, we did have Kirby Smith with Carolina Law Group just review those and confirm on some of these items. So there's really not a lot of changes. There's issues 4, 5, 6, and 8 that would require code changes. So prior to me presenting anything to the planning board, I just asked for guidance from this board on that. So issue number 4 is performance guarantees. It's not likely to be an issue because most of the large lots in town that would require a subdivision, i.e. performance guarantee, there's nothing large enough to do a major subdivision. But with the code, the way, or with changing the statute, we feel it's necessary just to make sure we have that. We don't know if, say, what used to be a mobile home park that has no parcel lines other than one around the compass might want to redevelop, and that might be needed. So that would be the first issue, is just adjust our code to include the performance guarantee requirement. Under item number 5, we have to update our code specific to signs. If basically it's let me read my notes on his. All right, so as part of Session Law 2024-45, it adds new section to 160D, which is a governing part of zoning, basically stating that the code will requires to have some form of amortization for non-conforming signs required to compensate the owner. So basically, if we initiate any code violation for an existing pre-permitted sign and require them to move, we have to compensate the owner on that. And that is state law, so we need to add that to our code. And then the next one will be 6. Oh, 6 we just did. And then the next one is number 8, which is we have to update our code to allow for minor cutting in and around existing billboards. I know our code does prohibit new billboards, but we do have to, any of them that are sitting on Emerald Drive, which is Highway 58, that is under a state statute that has allowances for maintenance underneath it. So those are the items for consideration of this board. But I am open if there are any questions on this.
Thank you, sir. I'll turn it back over to the board for any questions for Mr. Seberg.
Tommy, do you review these for compliance with the general statutes?
Hold it,
The bottom one.
the bottom button, hold it for like a second. There we go.
Kirby and Mark actually did the review of these things. I was hands-off at this time. I think during that time I was a little bit under the weather. And so Mark's here at the meeting to answer any of those questions in regards to that.
And so I prepared the document that I believe is in everybody's packet today, so you can see issue by issue what Mr. Seberg just covered. I reviewed the relevant statute. Each statute's included in there, and then I cross-referenced with whatever we had in EI, UDO, or just typical ordinance.
And you didn't see any conflicts or any problem with incorporating that into our UDO?
So there were a couple. The mandatory ones, one of which Mr. Seberg just mentioned, I believe was number 5, was it, Mr. Seberg? Yes, the compensation of relocation of lawfully erected signs. Essentially meaning that if a sign is lawfully erected, that there must be compensation if you were to remove it for whatever reason. Currently, there is nothing in the UDO. I provided a place where that would go logically, where it would fit in. It would be a new section 6.69.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, I looked through these and they make sense to me for, what they are. Did anybody on the planning board look at this to get their 2 cents, or does it?
Not, yeah, we were looking for guidance from you guys. Everything is basically ready to go before the planning board at their 27th meeting, but without instructions from this board, we didn't want to jump the gun.
No, it looks good to me.
The suggested motion would be to send it to the planning board, send part of it to the planning board, or don't consider changing the code.
Make a motion to send this item to the planning board for review and recommendation.
Commissioner Sanderson has made the motion to send to the planning board for review and recommendation. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. All right, item number 12. I Love Emerald Isle, Valentine's Gala and Fundraiser, alcohol sales at the community center.
Evening. So yes, we have created the very first I Love Emerald Isle Gala. This would benefit the Christmas Decoration Committee. As you well know and have voted on, we've replaced some of the Christmas decorations in town, and so now we're going to do this over a 3-year span where this committee raises a certain amount of money, and the board has agreed to match that so that we can get some new Christmas decorations. So I and Parks have agreed to create this gala, and just to give you a little background on it, it will be on Valentine's from 6:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. We have Big Sam, who's going to DJ for us and also sing a little bit as well. He's a great performer. We have a red carpet. Every lady who enters is going to get a flower. We also have a very nice dinner that's going to be served by Prestige Catering. Just to kind of give you a little taste, if you will, on that, we have heart-shaped lobster ravioli, Italian beef, herb chicken, twice baked potatoes, chocolate-covered strawberries, and red velvet cheesecake squares. And so it's going to be an evening of dinner, dancing, a silent auction to help raise money, just something new. Cocktail attire, just a great opportunity from anyone in Emerald Isle or surrounding areas who would like to join us for a wonderful evening on our new gym floors at that. And so what I'm asking tonight is the ticket sales, they're $75 per person. That would include 1 ticket for beer or wine, and then it would move to a cash bar. Prestige Catering would be fully responsible for the ABC permit because it is beer and wine only. The town would not be responsible. I would not have to apply for a permit. And we will stick with just beer and wine. We will have no liquor, but I just need the board's approval so that we can serve and sell alcohol that evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for camera? Any questions for camera? Any questions for Candace in regards to the Valentine's Gala? I'm sorry, I can't talk.
Is any red wine spill going to come out of that new floor?
Great question.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Tested, approved, good to go, just sticky.
Is there any liability on the town on that? Someone with alcohol?
It would be just like the fishing tournament situation, so we would have ID checks at the door, and I would have security in place, but other than that, there's no liability.
I mean, like in the event someone leaves there and gets in a wreck or something.
So we have a certified bartender, and so that would be on Prestige and their insurance policy, since it's their ABC permit, and it keeps the town from being liable.
Great question, great answer.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the sale of alcohol at the Emerald Isle Community Center on Friday, February 14th, 2025 for the I Love Emerald Isle Valentine's Gala.
All right. Commissioner Sawyer has the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I propose.
Motion is carried 4-1. Thank you,
Mayor
ma'am.
Holland.
Yes, ma'am.
We skipped over an added item, and that was 12. 12 should have been changed to the Tahoe purchase.
I believe we amended that in the consent agenda. Am I right or wrong? No?
We simply added it as item 12.
Oh, okay.
We have not taken action on that.
Okay. Got me along.
We were here, we heard it, I heard it as 12, pushing this one down to 13. So if you're okay with amending or adjusting your amendment that you will now be discussing item 13, that's fine with us. We just want you to discuss the EIPD budget amendment, whether it's item 12 or 13, if that's okay with the board.
My apologies.
I amend my motion, previous motion to add the Tahoe purchase as item 13 for discussion.
All right. The motion to add it as item 13 for discussion is on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion is carried.
I was going to make a comment that I abstained from the first vote because I thought that was lucky. I thought that was the vote on the Tahoe itself. And I do support the police department getting this Tahoe. They demonstrated yesterday why they need it, and I can vouch for them that they are in need of this vehicle. What I didn't have time to do, though, because when we got our agenda packages at such late notice, that I didn't have a chance to review and really compare, make sure we were getting the most bang for our buck, like I'm being told, so, but anyway, it's a good vehicle, and they do need it. And so, but for that reason, though, because I really didn't have a chance to prepare myself for even for some of the budget reviews, I vote no, just because I would like for it to be tabled until we have a chance to look at it. But if he needs it, he needs it.
Thanks, sir. And my apologies for inadvertently adding it to the consent. That was my mistake. So the motion to add it as item 13 has been carried, so I'll now open it back up to discussion with the board for the procurement of the
Laura
Tahoe.
Watchford was going to talk with us about the budget amendment for that.
Okay, ready?
Sure. Thank you. And we did discuss it today, and I thought it would be best to bring it today as opposed to next month, just by chance that we would not be able to get one in stock. This particular vehicle is at the dealership, and so that's why we chose to put it today. Just to get ahead of a 1-month delay. So the amendment there that you see is the state contract price with the highway use tax and then the estimated cost to equip sirens and lights to get the vehicle up and running, or, for police use. $62,100 is the estimate there for the grand total of everything. And then we have available funds in the contingency line, and so that's where we chose to move it from the other department into the police department. So the budget's there, it's just in contingency.
The only other item I'll add to that is we have the 2 chargers, one which was already, the equipment was stripped out of, and the second one that we talked to you about has the motor with the engine that needs to replace. We're going to go ahead and put those 2 items on Gov Deals immediately, and more than likely we should have those dollars theoretically back to us before the upfitting occurs. So what you'll actually see is that surplus revenue coming back in and helping to offset more than likely at least 100% of the upfit is our target goal.
And I'll add to the public here with us, anyone watching online, anyone you talk to after, I don't remember exactly the timestamp during today's budget retreat that the Tahoe was discussed, but it was discussed, numbers were posted. Really easy to miss if you had something more pressing going on today, but that discussion was held out loud, all the numbers, the information is there for you. Don't want the misperception that anything was done backdoor without your knowledge, anything like that. So the information is there. Happy to get the timestamp for you if you'd like for me to. All right, so that being said, do we need another motion?
To approve the budget amendment, we do.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the budget amendment for purchase of PD Tahoe, as discussed in today's Day 2 budget workshop.
Thank you, ma'am.
$62,100.
All right, Commissioner Sanderson has the motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion is carried. Thank you. All right, assuming I'm not missing anything else, we'll move to comments from the town clerk. I heard you had a lot to say tonight. No, I was wrong. Sorry. Town attorney.
I'll be brief. I just want to make sure it's sort of transparency. Anytime there's more than one attorney from the law firm here, the town's only going to be billed for one attorney's presence. Sometimes we task things amongst the firm, and so I want to assure mayor, commissioners, the public that if there's more than one of us here, it's only going to be billed as one attorney. So I'm invisible or he's invisible, or like a tag team wrestling match, we're tagging in and tagging out. But for billing purposes, it's going to be billed as one attorney at all times. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zapp?
I don't have a request, but there was a request, I think, from planning. I don't know if you'll be addressing it later. I don't have any comments.
I plan to address it
Okay.
in my comments.
All right. I'll go to comments from the Board of Commissioners, and I'll let you guys pick who goes first tonight. Go ahead. Throw up a hand, start talking, whatever you want to do.
I'll go first. We all received notice today that we have been subpoenaed. We will be subpoenaed for a Board of Adjustment hearing regarding the Brownlows and some property that they have. It is traditional, and Chris Seberg, Planning Director, has requested that we consider outside counsel for the Board of Adjustment, because counsel for the Board of Adjustment is much like counsel to this board is. And I make a motion that we reach out to Colley Pridgeon, Tim Caraway for representation for all of 2025 for the Board of Adjustment.
Okay. Commissioner Sanderson has the motion on the floor. Help me along to retain Macaulay Pridgeon, Tim Caraway for any...
If they're available, if not,
Okay.
to seek an alternate.
Okay, all right.
With no specific alternate, but just, I feel that since a member of Carolina Law Group, one of their legal associates is also named as a subpoena, in the subpoena, that it would be best that they have outside counsel for the Board of Adjustments.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to reach out to Macaulay Pridgeon for outside legal services for all of 2025 Board of Adjustments meetings. Is that accurate?
Hearings.
Say again?
And
hearings. All right. I just want to make sure I was clear for you and everybody in the room. So Alicia Sanderson has the motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I think I've recused.
Yes, sir. All right, that motion is carried. Thank you. Any other comments? Commissioner Sanderson? Who's next?
Hope everyone had a great New Year. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you, sir. Who's next?
I'll go.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Thanks for those who made public comments. And thanks to town staff, everybody that helped prepare for this budget workshop we just had. Over the past 2 days, I think it was very productive. I would agree that the police department definitely needs a new vehicle, especially after seeing a couple of these guys try to get stuffed in the back of one of those little Chargers. I wish we had videotaped that. But the biggest thing that I walked away from these 2 days is I think we have general consensus at striving to have a revenue neutral tax rate when we come out of this. I think everybody knows that our property taxes are being reevaluated, and all indications are that they're going up, they're not going down. So I think we're going to try to adjust our tax rate to meet them so that it's not an undue burden on our folks that are taxpayers here in Emerald Isle. The other thing I'm very conscious of is the insurance cost that comes with, you know, I know mine, I just got a notice and they said, hey, you need to update your replacement value because we think your valuation is going up. And I imagine I'm not the only one getting that kind of notice. So we're definitely keeping those kinds of things in mind as we go through this process. But in all reality, it's probably going to be March or later by the time we know what the actual valuations are going to be. So this is where Laura earns her money, trying to keep all these variables in place. So we're moving forward towards a workable budget that supports the town operations, but also is respectful of all the taxpayers to make sure nobody's getting stuck with a bill that would be a terrible surprise. So I appreciate that. And Happy New Year. That's the only other thing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good explanation. Yeah, that's what he was talking about, just to bring on that level. That's at the county level. We're doing this reevals. It's not the city level. We're waiting to hear back to where they're going to place us, what your property's worth, and that kind of item. So we're all on a standstill right now until those numbers come out. But for me today, the last 2 days we did budget talks, and I would just like to thank again the leaders at each department level for coming in and giving us a really good brief on what they needed and how they've gone above and beyond and done a lot of in-house stuff, and the money they've saved us as taxpayers here. For example, they didn't hire out to lay the gym floor. They did it themselves and saved us quite a bit of money, and they were telling us other things along the time they did that. So by our individual leaders on their own departments hiring the right people that can do the work for us and doing it in-house, it saves us a lot of money. So thank you again to town staff for doing that. Thank each of you for coming out, and highly impressed. I'd like to see more of these Eagle Scouts come out here. Fellas, y'all did really good. It's amazing seeing what you're doing for our community, and it's people like you. It's going to be the next leaders, and I'm happy to see people coming from Emerald Isle like that. So thank you, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown?
I'm looking forward to a great year this year, 2025. I'd like to give kudos to the Eagle Scouts. I think those are wonderful projects and fine examples of our youth today representing and just doing great things in our community. I'd like to address Mr. Thomas. I understand your situation, and I think I hope this town will look at and will review the way it does its enforcement in the future. Mr. Griffin, heard you about the senior discounts, and I think I agree too that we should review our fees, especially for senior citizens. We do want you to stay healthy, and we want you to stay around a long time. And Sarah Fullwood, we heard you also, and I think we should absolutely review our transparency and improve the way we do selections on the committees. They need to be open and available for all citizens to participate and not picked and then voted on. So, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. It's good to see the room full and everyone participating in their community civic actions here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hats off to our scouts. Very, very nice job. I want to applaud all of our town staff for the work that they put into the budget workshop for the last 2 days. Not going to sing you a song. You just stop. I'm I'm not the smartest man in the room, but I know it takes more than 2 days or a week or 2 weeks to put all that information together. I know that with constant contact with our town staff, our department leaders, the information that we reviewed over the last 2 days has been being compiled for the last year. Police cars don't wear out last week. They wear out over the year. Needs for the police department, needs for fire, needs for improving response times on Coast Guard Road. All that stuff is happening every day. Our staff is working on it, addressing it, and remedying problems every day. That's why we don't hear about them, okay? That's plain and simple. That's why we don't hear about them. We don't think about them or talk about them other than once a year when the people that are handling it on a daily basis come to us and say, hey, this went well this year. This did not go well this year. This is what we need to keep it as good as it is or make it better. So I applaud all of our town staff, all of our department leaders for making our town what it is, showing up, being the best that they can be because they love the town, they love the people, and giving the department leaders, the elected officials, the decision makers, the information they need to keep it going on a regular basis so that we can drive up and down the road, go on about our lives and never know anything was happening. It's a bigger deal than you think it is. So to all of our department leaders, your level of professionalism on every day, but especially in the last couple of days, in my short time as mayor, watching you all grow personally and professionally, I'm proud of you. I'm proud to know you, and I'm grateful that you have mine and my family's back every day. So hats off to all of you. That's all I have. Unless someone else has anything, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Have a great night. Be safe getting home.